Hello and welcome to the Slingshot channel. The Adder, as you know, it's one of my most favorite crossbows of all times, specifically with the 18-shot magazine and the reinforcements and all the tuning that I've done to it. But it has one disadvantage, which is also its strength. It has too much power for a lot of training sessions. So this is the most powerful limb set. It's a 190-pound Venom Extreme, but even the original 130-pound one is really powerful. The lightest that you can get is a 90-pound one, and that is already like 24 joule. I don't know, maybe 18 foot-pounds. And this means that there is significant damage to the arrows if you shoot them into anything but a perfect archery target. Of course, the string will suffer, so it's actually too much power for indoor practice. And in a lot of times, it's also too much power for outdoor practice. Plus, like people, if you want to teach like a boy, a teenager to shoot, this might be too hard to cock. So what we are lacking is a lighter bow limb set, a practice bow limb set that has almost no tear on the string, on the arrows, and it's super easy to cock, still accurate enough. So what we need is a 30-pound limb set. And since there's none on the market, I am now giving you a tutorial how to make one from very cheap material, and then it shoots great. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you too. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing that you need is just like a piece of fiberglass. So this is actually a rectangular rod, and this is 15 millimeters by 4 millimeters. And that is just perfect for the job. And I put the eBay Germany link down there for you, and I will try to also find an eBay link for the US and the UK. I'm not sure if I can. If so, then you will find it in the text or the description. Anyway, this is amazing stuff because it is so flexible. And, you know, as you can see, you could easily, you know, really flex it like 180 degrees and maybe above. I don't know, but that's all we need. And it always comes back to the original, absolutely perfect straight line. So one of these I bought for like, you know, just under 4 euros on eBay, and you can make 2 of these limbs from it, or you can also use it to just strengthen the one limb. So 30 pounds is not the limit. We will try later to see if we can also make like a 60 and a 90-pound version from it. Anyway, this is what you need to get, and this is pretty much the only thing. All the other parts you can borrow from the original Adder limb set. So first we will have to dismantle the original Adder limb set, because we need the string, we need the end caps, and we need the mounting piece. And you can buy all this as spare parts, of course, if you want. So you don't have to use the original parts, but using the original parts is the cheapest. Okay, next you need the repair string, like the maintenance string. And actually a professional version comes with the Adder, but I must have lost mine some time ago. So I'm using a little bit of paracord instead. So what you do is you put this over the end caps and into the second notch that you will get on these end caps. So here you can see the second notch, and this is like the main notch. So this is now fitting loosely. And now what you do is you just cock this thing using the maintenance string. So it looks like this. So you cock it, and then you can very easily remove the original string, like so. Okay. All right, now we have the string removed. Now what you do is you decock the whole system, and that is easily done by simply reversing the action. Now it is important to push up this thing a little bit, because otherwise you can't unlock it. It's a safety feature. To unlock the whole thing, you have to push it up first, and then you can move the lever, and then you can slowly decock the whole thing. All right, and then you can simply take off the maintenance string. One side and the other side. All right. Now you push out the pin and you can take off the arm, like so. And the end caps you can simply pull off. So it's super easy to, I wish. Okay. Now we got the end caps. Now we need the Allen key and unwind it. Doesn't have to be. So this could be a little hard first because there's actually a little bit of glue put in here so that it doesn't come loose accidentally. So sometimes it's a little hard. You can see it because there's typically some blue color from the glue. You just need to keep turning the screw until it's loose. And so don't lose these parts that are in there. So there's like a plastic part and a piece of metal in the plastic. We will need those. Next, we will have to cut off a piece that is pretty much exactly 49 centimeters long. So just mark the 49 centimeter line here. Okay. And then you can take just about any saw to saw it off. Next, we need to shape the ends so that they can take on the caps. So this is done by just putting the original one over it and then marking what you need to remove. Okay, now your limb ends should look a little bit like this, but you will notice that the end caps are not quite fitting because this is just a little bit too wide for them. So all we need to do is file them in a little bit on the edges here. Very easily done. So now, as you can see, they're gliding in perfectly well, and this is exactly what we want. And we do this on both sides, of course. Now what you will notice is that the end caps are a bit loose. That isn't a problem because once they're under tension it's going to straighten itself, but we don't want them to be too loose. So I actually think it is best to add a little bit of a special little washer or like a distance keeper for this. So these are just made from a little bit of plastic, but you can also use wood. It's about like 2.5 millimeters in thickness. Now you can file them until they really fit snugly inside. So like so. You can see it's now really solid, and that's really good. Before we assemble the whole thing, I think it is best to mark the middle and then 2 centimeters left and right. And actually I scratched the paint away a little bit so it's permanent. This will help you greatly making sure that it's mounted nicely centered so that it's going to shoot straight. So this is what I recommend. You don't have to do it, but otherwise it's kind of hard to find the focus, the center, because this is just a straight unmarked piece of fiberglass. And then you simply put it back into the original mounting block like so. Very easy. Of course you need to turn in the screw a lot more, which is no problem. And this doesn't have to be 100% firm, just hand firm is really all it takes. Yeah, so now it's ready for reassembly. And now we can put the string back on, and for this very easy 30-pound limb set, we don't really need the 8 of the cocking rod. Of course you can do it like that, but you don't have to. You can just simply do this like so. It's just light enough for this. Okay, so that's it. And as you see, the distance is just about perfect. If not, you can control this, so it should be almost touching the blocks, but not quiet. You can control this by twisting or untwisting the string a little bit. The more you twist it, the shorter it gets and the more pretension you will have. But this is just about perfect. So now we can reassemble the whole thing and then take it for a test. So let's shoot with this thing with the easy 30-pound bow limb set. And by the way, I was able to put 20 bolts into the magazine, but of course the manufacturer recommends only 18. And as you see, one of the big advantages of the 18-shot magazine is also that you can put a scope on here. It's easy to still fill the magazine because the lever is just so high that it doesn't touch the scope. So this is a fairly small scope, but as you see, I could easily install a larger one, so that's not a problem at all. And also I used a scope from FX, and this one has an adjustable rear position and front position, so I can cant it down, which makes total sense if you shoot such a weak limb set, because of course even on the 10-meter distance the bolts will have significant drop, and that means that you need to compensate with the scope, and typically that is out of the range that the scope would allow you to adjust. Therefore, if you just cant it a little higher here, then it will work just beautifully. So I shot it in roughly, and let's see what we can hit with it. It's so easy to cock. A boy can do this. Doesn't even have to be a fairly old boy. All right. I'm already hitting my original bolts a little bit. Look how easy it is to cock this thing. I can do this with one finger. Super easy. Let me see if I can do it with my pinky. Okay, use the pinky. Yeah. It feels like nothing at all. Oops. That was a Robin Hood hit. Yeah, I think just two more. So this is the result, and I'm pretty happy with it. We do have a few outliers, but if you look at them closely, you can see that this vein was definitely damaged, and that certainly caused the fail. Yeah. This one seems all right. It came a little high, but I mean, look at the average group size. And so here is one that suffered from a Robin Hood. So the knock is just actually broken now. But the other one that hit it is right here. Is fine. So I can continue to use this one. Okay, let's now compare it what happens when we shoot the same bolt with the Venom Extreme, which is 190 pounds. So this is 30 pounds and this is 190 pounds. And you can clearly see the difference. But of course, in physical dimensions, those are very much the same length. So we put it in like so, press in the bolt, take the magazine. I love how quickly you can exchange the limb sets on an adder. Just put in the thumb screw. Reload the arrows and we're done. Okay, now we are shooting 3 bolts with the 190 pound limb set, and I will have to aim about a hand span under the entire archery mat. So we're talking a compensation of maybe 50 centimeters. So that's a lot of distance to compensate, because the bolts will fly so much faster using the powerful limb set. But it is also a lot harder to cock. So if I cock this here, this is no longer that easy. I mean, it's still not super hard, but it is significantly harder. And also you can see that now the reinforcements of the entire body come into play. So this is still very stiff, but that's because we have a lot of steel in here. Absolutely unnecessary for the easy bolts, but makes a lot of sense with these. All right. And I'm trying to aim a little bit to the right so that we can compare how deeply they penetrate. Okay. Okay. Go for 2 more. Okay. So here you can see the difference in penetration. These went in all the way, including a part of the veins. These here can be pulled out with total ease. And these ones here, yeah, not so much. All right. And you can also see that the veins suffer from this. I mean, I can fix this by just heating up them a little bit, then they straighten out. But it's still no comparison. This is a more fresh spot in the archery mat, so we'll have to use my pliers. And as you see, I'm grabbing them here right behind the nock, because then the shaft is not hollow at that point, since it's filled with the nock. Otherwise I would squeeze the shaft in. So yeah, so these bolts are now ready for some heat treatment. Whereas these here, not so much. So easy to pull them out. So much better for them. So for training purposes, this really is a great option. And here you could see how accurate that little 30-pound limb set really is. I mean, if I would adjust it a little lower and a little bit to the left, I'd actually have a pretty good score. All right, that test was fairly successful. The question is, can you also use this material to make a more powerful bow? Sure, all you have to do is cut more lengths from it and put them behind this. It's very simple. So those have to be a little bit shorter, but not much shorter than these, simply because you don't want it to push off the end caps. So you go like this. Very simple. Just make sure that it's centered right. Now you can no longer do this by hand, so we use our little aid here. And it is important to push the ear through the loop of the maintenance band. Otherwise you cannot get it off. So it's important to push it through and then slip it over its notch in the front of the whole thing. Like so. Okay. All right. And then push up, release the tension slowly until everything is in place. And then slide off the maintenance string. Like so. And now we got our system. Let's try to cock it if it's holding. Yes. So you see there's now a lot more tension on the whole system than it used to be, just because it's now much stronger and much more powerful. So exactly how powerful is it? Well, we will use our little measuring device here to find out. Okay, we're clocking this at 69 pounds for the exact stretch that we have. So this is now it's a 70 pound limb set now. So let's add one more so that we get, every time you add another one, you lose a little bit of power. This means that it's getting harder and harder to draw. So 2 30 pound will make about 70 pounds. So if we add a third layer, the expectancy is that we will get maybe around 100 pounds, but we'll find out. So now this is all three. Looks interesting, doesn't it? I hope that the caps won't fly off. Okay, it's coming under tension. Yeah, so it's just about 104 pounds. Very much what we expected. And it still looks okay to me. Everything is symmetrical. Nice. So this is how the whole setup now looks like. As you see, we got 3 of these. We got 104 pounds of draw force, which is of course not as much as the 130 pound original set, but a little more than the 90 pound limb set, which is the lightest that you can buy from EK Archery. Okay, let's see if it shoots. Let's do a little test firing before. So careful. Seems all right so far. Okay. Still holding. And it's powerful. Okay, then let's try it. "61 meters per second and about 24 joules. That is seriously impressive, because that means that it's about as powerful as the 90 pound limb set that EK Archery sells. So, what we've done is that we rebuilt the 90 pound limb set with very, very, very cheap material. This is really interesting because we used 3 times as much of the fiberglass, and we got more than 3 times the energy, because I clocked the single limb set with 30 pounds at about just under 7.5 joules. So 7.3 joules, something like this. And now we tripled it, and now we achieved like almost 25 joules. So that's more than 3 times of it. So this means that you get a little bit of extra oomph on this. I find it really interesting. I don't know why that is, but definitely the performance is just the same as like a conventional limb set with the same draw weight. This is really interesting because it means that in a country where crossbows are illegal, now that so many people offer 3D printed repeating crossbows based on my invention that I gave into public domain a long time ago, so they do this legally, and I'm actually excited about it. Now they don't have to buy a commercially made limb set. You can just simply buy fiberglass rods and then turn those into limb sets very easily, because these guys won't find it hard to print their own end caps. So this means that you can create a ghost crossbow in a country where it is illegal to buy one. This means that all crossbow regulations are actually idiotic, because they won't hold anyone back from getting one. So we're back here at the shooting range, and now we're shooting the homemade limb set, 104 pounds, made for under 4 euros. We're gonna shoot it and see if the accuracy is still there. Cocking is now of course harder, but it's still absolutely easy. I mean, this is much less than the 130 pounds the adder comes with, and of course even less than the 190 pound that is the Venom Extreme, which is currently the strongest commercially available one as far as I know. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so this is the result, and I don't want to shoot more into it because that would only kill my own bolts. They're so close together that Robin Hood shots would now be absolutely unavoidable. So of course I have to tune it a little bit more to the left and maybe a little more up, but the group size is absolutely amazing for such a cheap homemade limb set, I think. I mean, this is in no ways any worse than the commercially available one, and it's a lot less expensive. So the homemade under €4 limb set for the adder, adjustable between 30 and 104 pounds. I hope you like this, because that's it for today. Thanks, and oh, this is so easy. Bye bye. For this kind of archery mat, that is about perfect, because the bolts go in just until the veins touch it, and therefore they will not suffer as much as if you would use a more powerful limb set.